Welcome to the Chasing Brighter podcast.
You're about to go on a journey of self-discovery as we chase a brighter you. Every single week, we will bring you new episodes that will cover everything from lifestyle and tips to more serious conversations about grief, life, and hardships.
Allow this show to be a reminder to always keep chasing a brighter version of you. Let's get into it.
Hey, Kelly, how are you doing today?
I am doing okay, Jess.
I want to hear all about the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about too. My family just came back from spring break and we went to Punta Cana. And that's in the Dominican Republic, which is on the same island as Haiti. It's on the west side. I didn't really study my geography too well. I haven't been in the Caribbean much, and I've traveled the world over the years. So really, I haven't been in any. I have been to Puerto Rico, which is actually, it's just east of Puerto Rico, but the weather was unbelievable. I don't know if it was just how the weather was for the week that we were there, but like Jesse, there was no humidity. So,
Yeah.
you know how like when you go on a vacation and you go out to dinner, you've been at the pool all day, you shower, you do your hair. And I remember every time we've been in Mexico, like, why do I even bother blow dry my hair flat straight? Because it's just going to curl up with the humidity.
Mm,
This, it didn't do that. It was really
nice.
awesome. So that was
Yeah.
cool. So it's not as tropical per se.
No, I remember doing mom and dad loved it. And I had a colleague years ago from Dominican Republic, and I remember looking at it and I remember reading about it because it shares with Haiti.
Hmm.
And Haiti has had a lot of poverty, a lot of struggles. I remember reading the
Yeah.
history of it, just to understand how could like the same geographical area,
Be
one
so
appeared to
different.
me more
Yeah.
thriving than the other. So anyway, but yeah,
Yes.
no, that's super fascinating.
I agree. That's the part that was interesting to me as well. I am an analysis paralysis person. I overthink and overcomplicate everything. We went with friends last year to Mexico and it was good. We tried to do something that was like most bang for the buck. This year, we expanded our budget a bit and we wanted to stay somewhere nicer. So here's what I learned: the idea of a five-star resort. They're all five-star resorts in Punta Cana. And I tried to find a place that was newer. So last year, it's as I explore this. So we haven't been going on spring breaks only until recently, like significant trips, because we didn't really want to spend the money, honestly. And the kids were younger and it just seemed more effort than it was worth. Whereas now the kids are older and we really enjoy doing that. We're still exploring what we like
Hmm.
and what works for us as a family and also the other family that we went with. So I wanted to stay at a newer property. That's one thing I'm learning with these all-inclusive. So A, we wanted to stay at all-inclusive. B, we wanted a
Yeah.
newer property.
Yeah.
And the place was absolutely gorgeous. The rooms were huge. And the thing that's
And
perfect,
you had one room.
we had one room. And the thing that you can do all the research, but people don't give you the review you need when you're looking
Right.
for certain things. So here's
Right.
what I need. I need a room that has a separate toilet room and then a separate like shower area. Because they're a
Mm,
family of 4 and this room had it, it was perfect. So somebody could be in the shower, somebody could go to the bathroom, and somebody could be blow drying their hair all at the same time.
right.
So you can survive on one bathroom with 4 people,
Hmm.
which worked great. There was another resort I was looking at that we didn't go to that it's all one room. Also, suites fill up quickly and they obviously are more expensive too. So
Hmm.
tried to find something that worked best.
When you do an all-inclusive, because I'm looking at cruises versus all-inclusives right now, you're paying not for the room, but per person.
Yeah, so I should have
Okay.
maybe lied about Wes's age because they really
Mhm.
don't check an age. So for our listeners, all inclusives are 13 and up is the adult rate.
Mm.
So theoretically, Wes is now that age, but they don't check. So I think we probably have two or 3 years of just lying about his age to pay for a kid rate. So that's one thing. Actually, let me caveat that. The issue with the 13 and up is for the resort both last year and this year, they get their key card. They get their own entry into the room. All the all-inclusives
Mhm.
now, they give you this bracelet that you can use to key into your room. So he was able to get into the room.
And I would have to look, but see, the one thing that is unfortunate for us is that capacities of rooms so often are 4. We have
Well,
5.
it's not so that is actually one of the newer things that I'm finding is that The rooms now are kids. So this other hotel we were looking at is now they have this triple bunk situation, and I think
Okay.
cruises have that too. So the room will be a queen bed and then
Mhm.
a pony wall or something else, and then they'll have this triple bunk,
Okay.
or they have a
Okay.
double bunk with a trundle.
That's
And so
nice.
that was the
Have a
other one that
higher
we
capacity, which is nicer.
so it's designed for a family of
Right.
5, which is
Yeah.
perfect, same rate.
Right.
That hotel that we were looking at, the issue is it had the single bathroom sitch. Now, you're in an all-inclusive. If you need another bathroom, like somebody
Right.
has to
There's
go to
a
the
bunch of
bathroom.
public bathrooms everywhere.
Exactly. So there's that. The other thing that I'm finding that is misleading on all-inclusives is, like, the one we stayed at, it said it had 2 buffets. It actually had for breakfast, it had 1 buffet, and for lunch, it had 2 buffets, and it said it had 2 buffets, but
You mean
technically
like
it
in
was
2 separate locations?
yes.
Okay. Did it have different restaurants?
It had 7 different restaurants, but this both
Okay.
last year and this year, the issue is they tell you they have all these restaurants, you're like, "Oh, this is great," and then they're like, "You need a reservation." Last year, we were only allowed to have 2 guaranteed reservations for the 5 nights we
Mhm.
were there, and then you could try same day, which meant you had to get up at 10 AM and rush to the lobby to get that's ridiculous. This one, the day we got there, I just booked and we had a it was another family with us, so it was 8 of us. So this resort was better for groups. I'm probably going into too much, but the issue was you
No, I
couldn't
wouldn't.
get for the first 2 days, we couldn't get à la carte, the à la carte reservation. The
Yeah.
à la carte restaurants, both places, were much this one in particular, because we were at the Le Poisson, so I wanted something more local. I didn't wanna do an American chain because I don't wanna be with other Americans that much because I find them to be rude and obnoxious and annoying, but I'm only going off of that when I was, like, 30 something because the last couple times I've stayed somewhere has been, like, a more of a European-owned resort chain. Here's what I guess regardless of all of that, I could talk about it for hours. The things that you need to know, I read this blog after I went, which is here's how you do an all-inclusive. You need to stay at a resort that you can be the VIP at that resort. You have to get VIP level. So the resort we were at had a VIP section, and that's a totally different experience, and I couldn't figure out how to get that. I don't know if it was sold out when I booked, so I
Right.
just booked whatever I wanted. Because again, it was a 5-star, 4-diamond AAA. So that
Yeah.
seemed like a really great resort, right? The buffet sucked, but it sucked because it was all Dominican food, and that was the only thing that they had. So the issue with that was it's cuisine that we're not used to. Breakfast was weird in that you couldn't really get a you had to
Well,
wait in line.
You don't wanna be American, so it's not gonna be American
I
food.
was trying to lean into the Dominican sitch, and
Right,
so but it
right.
was different food, like,
Yeah.
I didn't think the food was that good, and
Yeah.
it just was maybe mediocre Dominican food. Like, I love me some plantains. I plantained my brains out, and I
Yeah.
pineappled my brains out, like, I had all of
So
the
when you're
things.
looking at a price point, 7 days, is it under 10 grand or under 5 grand or under 15 grand?
I think for 7 days, just for lodging, for a mid like, where we stayed, for 5, probably around 5 to 8 grand. That doesn't
With
include
all
flights.
not inclu okay, all inclusive.
So your flight is about a grand a person,
Okay.
and then plus the all-inclusive.
I'm, like, operating off of, like, 2002 pricing, so I'm trying to find so our issue with us not doing we've done spring break, we've done more adventure vacation, but Gabby and I are, like, super burnout, and we want to do something where we're not moving or where we're super relaxed, right? And so AJ's neighbor invited him on a cruise and he said
Oh,
he would
that's
get a
right.
room for him and Gab. And I was like, honestly, I don't even care. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. And I was like, I would want to go. I want to go on the cruise, but it's like in October and we can't go for 11 days in the middle of October. And I was telling AJ, Gabby's junior year is very critical for recruiting and everything. This is a really big year after September 1st. One of Gabby's friends on so D1 and D2 colleges can start talking to you September 1st of your junior year. One of her friend had 23 voicemails when she woke up on September 1st. It's crazy, right? So Gabby's been communicating with all of these colleges that can't talk to her yet, right? She's been emailing them, whatever. So I was like, we can't do that. And we've been, not by fault of our own, but two of our teams imploded. And so every year we have to see, what does this team do, right? During holidays, what does this team do during whatever? And Gabby's team starts becoming dark in November. So we know all of December we will have to do whatever. December, January, February, and intramurals doesn't start till February. So I started to look and I'm like, I don't understand. It'll be like 750 a person, right? A cruise. So I'm like looking at cruises first because you have to pay for flights, right? 10 days, Mazatlan, Cancun, whatever. I don't know, wherever that all goes. Okay. 750 a person, right? There's 5 people. Total $6,500. I'm sorry. Where's the math on this here? So then I keep looking and I keep looking and I'm trying to think of what a budget would be and what I want to do. I know when I took the 4 of us to London, we stayed at a really incredibly nice hotel with airfare and staying there for 7 days. The vacation was 4 grand because I did an incredible job. No, that's not food. That's not any adventure stuff. I'm sure it was way more than that. But I'm just trying to think in my mind, like, what's an appropriate budget? And
There
so I'm
was a
trying to get an
family
idea.
of 5 behind us in line for
Yeah.
customs or something when we were on the way home, and
Yeah.
everybody was really fed up with their kids at that point, and the lady was like, "You all, we just spent 20 grand on vacation, and this is how you're treating us, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Jesus, like, it is expensive to spend the money on spring break." So, I think for us, what I would say would be set a budget
Right.
and then
Exactly.
reduce the days. Because I think
Right.
next year
That's
that's what we're going to
true.
do
That's
is because I told
true.
Brian, I was like, "All right, this was a 4 diamond AAA," which I thought
Right.
was like the shiz, right? It
Yeah.
was beautiful facility, but the service was not great.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
didn't feel pampered. I couldn't get into the restaurants I wanted to. You There was some great things about it, but, like, now I'm very much more discriminating on how I want and how I wanna be
Mhm.
treated. I don't wanna wake up at 8 a.m. to reserve a chair. Now, granted, we go on when you're going on spring break, it's unusually busy time. So if you're reading reviews and somebody had the most amazing time in November,
And look at where
not
they
gonna
went.
be the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something I learned. Also, you have to figure out what your kids how are your kids? So my kids, we decided to choose a pure beach pool place.
Right. Right.
Not a lot of excursions in
Do they have a kids
Dominican.
club?
Lame kids club. They had a water park, lame water
Mm.
park. So it wasn't stuff that was really great for my
Yeah.
kids. It was probably more for younger kids, but you
Yeah.
didn't get that. And also my kids don't wanna do the kids club.
It depends. We were talking, I just went to go see my nurse practitioner who I love, and I was talking to her about this. And she said she's not a cruise person. Her mom is like gonna be 95. So they went on this big cruise for her being 95, and they went to Antarctica. And
Wow.
she said that I forgot how long they went, but that I think it was her grandson is 14, and that they had like a teen club on the cruise, and that he absolutely loved it and was there every night. It lasted until like 11 PM. And I remember our neighbors, they went on a cruise and the kids were like 12 and 15, and you were like, "Oh god." She wasn't looking forward to it, and she was with the teen scene, whatever it's called, had an amazing time. And so I think it could be cool if they
Absolutely.
had, so that would be something to look into. So my thing with the cruise is we wouldn't have to get airfare, right? We could drive. I've been looking,
To
like, I don't
LA,
wanna,
yeah.
like, every cruise leaves out of Florida, anything like Dominican,
Yes, that's
Puerto
correct.
Rico,
It's
that's a
all in
day
the
of travel
Gulf.
for us. It's a
Yeah.
day of travel there and a day of travel back. So I'm already like, I wanna stay on the West Coast just because of all that. And so Gabby's talking about Hawaii. I'm like, after talking to you, I'm like, man, probably just flights and an Airbnb would probably be fine for Hawaii because there's just like hiking and laying around and like turtles, whatever. But anyway,
I think finding a
so
place that
yeah,
has a mix
yeah,
of excursions, the teen club for sure. Actually, what I told even when I talked to Brian about was, the place was small enough. It was huge,
but you went
actually.
with another family that had kids your kids' age. So that
So they all
is
hung out together
amazing
and we
too
could
because then
ignore
they
them all
have
day. That was
friends.
the
Right,
goal. The goal was like
totally.
they could be at the pool,
Great
we could be at the
idea.
beach even. Like we didn't
Yes.
worry about
Mhm.
anything. So that all it hit all the boxes. This place, what was cool is you saw a lot of families with older kids, like teens, and the one
Yeah.
they're like out late.
Yeah.
They're hanging out at the nightclub or whatever. So I think as the kids get older, having a resort like that where they can be off on their own
Yeah.
and explore different things that you don't have to worry about. I love that part of all inclusive. I think what I didn't love is I want to be treated like I want to like a
Yeah.
VIP. I
No,
want
what I have to say, because I live in Las Vegas, Kelly, I feel the same. Because our customer service here is ridiculous. So when I go anywhere else and travel, I know it sounds terrible, but we are treated so well here.
so we had an issue. I didn't tell you this and we can talk about it
Is
here.
it in Vegas,
So
you're gonna be like, I hate Vegas because I wasn't treated well.
So we were largely having a great time. The food was an adjustment, but it was fine. Like you said, you have to lean in. I've been all over the
Right.
world. Honestly,
Right.
it was not that good of food, even for
Yeah.
a buffet,
Yeah.
but whatever. We weren't eating our face off.
Yeah.
So that was
Right.
great. We just picked
Yeah.
whatever we wanted and went with it. I just
Yeah.
tried to eat a lot of vegetables.
It's better. It's actually better
But
for everyone if the
it
buffet is
was
not that great.
yes. So then the 4th or 5th night we were there, I was sleeping great. The room was great. We had ocean views. It was all amazing. In the middle of the night, we heard a boom on our door. We don't know what happened, still to this day. Something hit our door of our hotel room. Your worst nightmare. Hit the door of our hotel room, Jesse. Broke. Broke the jam, pushed through the door. The metal latch that you lock, deadbolt lock, flew out, screws on the floor, wood busted. Our door is, like, literally broken. It's 2 AM. It's 2 AM. I have no idea what just happened. We are city people. Brian is like, "Game on. Somebody's trying to attack us." He runs to the door. He's holding it physically. He's, "Kel, get up. Something happened." I am, like, in the middle of a
We're not in
glorious
the boy.
slumber.
I would grab the
The
boys,
boys
hide in the
are
bathtub. I don't know. What are you
the
doing?
boys are asleep. Brian's holding the door and, like, waiting for somebody to, like, bust in. Like, we didn't
Right.
understand I didn't understand
Yeah.
what happened. So, after knowing all that, my initial thought was, like, maybe somebody was really drunk and thought that was their room and tried to break in, but we don't even know if they opened the door. Like, we're all asleep in the middle of the night. So, he was like, "Call
Front
call the
desk.
front desk," right? So, I
Um,
call the front desk, ringing, nobody answers. I call the operator. I said, "I need to reach the front desk," ring, nobody answers. I'm slow to react to any of this. So then I was like, I'll call security. So I call the operator again and I ask for security. It's a foreign country. They're not English is not their primary language. But anyway, so
right.
security guy comes and we're like,
Ayúdame, ayúdame. What's your room number?
I know, I was like all my broken English. I'm like, I was like, Mira. I was like, mi hijos, duermo. And he is, oh, and he takes a picture and he takes a picture of the room number, whatever.
They have
And
security cameras in the hallway.
so Brian walked with him because we're dude, we know the crime sitch in the
I
world
know.
or like living in the city. So Brian's
Like,
like,
I've had
immediately,
multiple break-ins. This is
he
the
goes out.
protocol.
Yeah, like this. I know how this happened. Was it a crowbar this time or is it something else? So anyway, he walks with a security guy and he points out the two cameras and he was like, you need to get footage and figure out who did this. But there's no footage directly down our corridor, but there's one on either side. So then the front desk calls and says, "The bellhop, like, we'll have another room for you. The bellhop will be up. When can you pack your belongings?" I was like, "We'll be ready in 5 minutes." And I literally, because it was a room too that we didn't like open. We didn't put in the drawer. Sometimes I put clothes in drawers and stuff. No,
Yeah.
it was all just in my suitcase because it's 4 people in a small room anyway.
Yeah.
And it had these really great places to put. It all worked out great. So I literally just shove everything in all the suitcases. It's 2 AM. I'm like, they come up, I get the boys out of bed. The bellhop comes in, loads everything up. We move to another room, which wasn't air conditioned, wouldn't be cool. It was like 75 in there, so we have to cool it down. It wasn't as nice of a room personally because it was half of an ocean view and I'm bougie. They He gets us set up, whatever. We go to bed, which means we don't go to bed because we're laying in there being like
Your
fed to
adrenaline's
death.
pumping in
Yeah.
your body. We almost were all murdered,
So we
obviously,
didn't
and
sleep
kidnapped.
that night. And also, so then we get up the next morning and the guest services lady, Victoria from guest services calls and was like, "Do you need anything?
Yeah, a
Is there anything
refund
we can
for my
do?"
night's sleep. I need 2 reservations.
I was like, "We're very upset." And Brian's, "I'm pissed." I was like, "My husband's very angry. Like, this is really, we don't feel safe. Like, we don't know what happened. This is really unsettling for us." And I was like, "But there's one thing you can do. Can you switch our reservation on Saturday night from this restaurant to that restaurant for 8 people?" And she was like, "Well, what time?" I was like, "Anytime that's available between 6 and 8."
I would be
Brian
happy
was
if I
like,
had
"What the hell?
a
Like, why are you saying this? We're
martini
in the middle of somebody could have
and
attacked us, and you wanna change the room." But I was like, I needed a gimme. Long story short, Jess, we never got the reservation. We never got a change in reservation. We went down there. Brian wanted to see the camera footage. We never saw the camera footage because Brian's also, we love our spy and conspiracies theory. Who's watching us? Somebody's out to get us. Is it the Russians? Do they know we live in Ukrainian village? Like we're just going all over the place, right? So we went down and we talked to the lady and I was upset. I was crying. I was like, we were considering checking out. Like, what happened? And they're just like, "We're so sorry this happened. It never happened. This is a very safe resort. We've never seen anything like this happen before. We're so sorry."
I just
And
have
that
a
was
lot of
it.
questions. Okay. Typically in hotels, it's like a big heavy metal door. Is that not the kind of door you had?
Just for future reference for people who do all-inclusives, make sure the metal frame of the door is metal and not wood. It was
Okay.
wood.
So it was a wood frame. Was the door a thick, heavy metal,
Yeah,
like those
yeah,
big heavy doors? Okay.
yes.
And was there a dent, like a head dent? Like how would someone like push through everything?
I I don't
Not a
in
battering
theory,
ram of some
because it
sort?
was a wooden door frame, I don't think it would have taken much to push it out. You had to hit it hard, but so what we found out okay, so what they said was there was a guy pushing a wheelchair down the hall at that time. We knew the time frame. There was only one these 2 people, the only ones that were in that 30-minute window of time that
Mhm.
came down the door,
Mhm.
and they were drunk. They were visibly drunk. So we don't know if the person pushing the wheelchair ran the wheelchair into the door or if they were banging on the door and the door gave. You don't know even if the door was already ready to give out. But
Yeah.
the family that we were staying with, they were 2 doors down from us. They heard banging on the door. So we don't
On
know if
their
maybe the
door.
person yes, so if somebody banged on all the doors all the way down and they just banged extra hard on ours, I think if you were a big person and you shouldered into the door based on the door, I don't think it would have like
Jeez.
you could have pushed into it.
And I know this isn't the same, but I can tell you, especially because 'cause we've had the multiple shootings now in Las Vegas. Mom and dad, sometimes for anniversary or birthday, will give us a comped room at Green Valley. And Justin and I both I don't know if you're the same way, but I only deep sleep when I'm not with my children. I realize I'm a very late sleeper. So you know how Brian was? That would have been me. I hear stuff all the time. I jump up, I get the lights. I'm like, "Justin, get the bat. Let's go." But he will sleep through anything, but I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So I'll hear stuff and we'll like go through the house, we'll go outside, whatever. So I sleep better when the kids aren't at the house. I just am not in like mom mode. So I was so excited to get like a good night's sleep. We're sleeping 1 o'clock in the morning. Goddamn, like fire alarm goes on and it was like,
Oh, that's the worst.
stay in your room. I forgot what it said. I don't know if it said there is a person on the property or something. It was like, "Stay in your room." I'm like, "Mother effer, there's a shooting in our room." And
Yes.
then it went on for 45
Oh
minutes in the middle of
god.
the night. And I know it's not like mom, dad's fault, but I wanna be like, I want a refund. It was like,
Yeah.
yes, we had a dinner out. It was nice. It was a date, whatever. But just when you're up like that, you can't go
No,
back
it's
to
the
sleep.
worst.
You're like,
No.
someone's gonna break in the
Well,
room. There's
and,
shooters in
like,
here. Like,
talk about tone deaf. Later that day, guest services called and said, "We fixed your room. Did you wanna move back to it?" Are you kidding me? Somebody
no.
broke into that room and we wanna go back?
I'm like you, like,
So
if you rectify it and this is sometimes I'll go places and I'm like, all you have to do comp a obviously you're staying at a resort, but if I'm out at a restaurant, comp a meal, comp a drink, comp something, and I'll be happy,
we
right?
did
If you're
get a
proactive and you do
I
something,
don't
I
think it
would
was
feel
enough.
better.
Maybe I'm ungrateful, but we
You
did
should have
come back to
gotten
the
a
room.
free
They had a bottle of champagne, which was the shitty house bubbles that we drank the whole week, which was like a $5 bottle of bubble, and just we're sorry for the inconvenience. And talk about an
and 2 free
inconvenience.
therapy sessions.
So this is why I'm like, you know what? A lot of people you read hotel reviews and some people complain when they have an issue and it doesn't get rectified. In a lot of resort chains that aren't service oriented, it doesn't matter American or whatever, because it doesn't matter the company. There are some that are focused on service and some that are not. So if you just want a run of the mill vacation and you stay anywhere, you'll be fine. But you need to think about resort. If you want to be taken care of, I did not get taken care of. So you
Yeah.
see people who leave bad reviews when everyone else said 5 out of 5, but if you I think you read through them and then you start to
Yeah.
but again, that's pouring through tens of thousands of reviews on places. Like, I overanalyze because 'cause I'm
But
gonna
don't you love
spend
when
money on what the
places
best
respond
vacation
immediately and they would be like, "I'm so sorry to hear this, Kelly. I'm going to call you." How people scour their reviews and respond immediately?
Yeah, but what are they gonna do for
Yeah.
me at this point? So I was really disappointed. We kept asking to see the manager of guest services. No, they're behind a door
Mm.
that was like frosted door, never came
Mm.
out. It was really disappointing.
Yeah.
We're just one person. We're one room
Yeah.
of however much money things are going in. But as an American, in some ways, I'm like, as an American family, like I will leave a review and I will say the pros and cons of that place.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Other than that, everything was fine. It was great.
Ugh. So crazy. And the boys never heard anything. They were
No, and
like,
then but
"What?
they got
No room?
they
Okay."
didn't hear anything, but they certainly were more like Wes in particular was like anxious about stuff. So anytime somebody would like, somebody's knocking on our door, a thing, he was a little more nervous. But we all had a really great time. It was a great break from the weather here in Chicago, which is still in the 40s and rainy and snowy and
Yeah.
crappy.
Yeah.
But we were ready to come home after that too.
So you're
Ready to
thinking you did 7 days,
it was technically 8 days. It
8.
was
So you're
7 nights and
thinking
eight
like
days.
5.
5 in a
Yeah.
bougier place. I wanna
Yeah.
stay I'm gonna look for a 5 diamond AAA. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. Because I thought four-star resort was like everything.
It can be. It depends because I wanna say, and I know this a while ago, but when we did a 4-star hotel in London, it was ridiculous, the service, right? "Oh, hello, Miss Kalerka. How are you? Need anything? Would you like me to get a car for you?" And we'd be like, "Yes, can you
Yeah.
get a car for
Yeah,
us?
yeah, that's
We're
not
going to the
happening at
airport in the
this
morning."
place.
"Oh, hello." And, like, the room was just I found this room. It was really cool that it was like these 2 chairs folded out into twin beds for Gabby Dom. So it was
Mhm.
that's what we did. I think we got a smaller room, right? It was like a king bed with 2 pull-out things, and it was
Yep.
a smaller room, although we were in the city of London, so just like New York, they're gonna be small rooms. But it was like that way we could, like, really splurge on the hotel, right? Because
Yeah, I
it was
think
a
that's
smaller room or
exactly.
whatever, and
It's
so
finding
I think it's just and everything depends on exactly what you're looking for, and one of the things I wanted to look up because it changed, and that reminds me, so Gabby has a teacher that's really young and really cool, and she's arranging all these amazing trips, right? They're going to Italy, they're going to Japan, they're going all these places, and it was like 5 grand for her to go to Japan, and I went to this website, it what used to be called European Destinations. Justin and I used it before, and they changed it, and I'm trying to think of what they changed it to. Okay. Trip Masters. Okay. So you put in there everything you wanna do. So Justin and I used it when in 2018 when we went for 2 or 3 weeks to Eastern Europe. And so you put in there, "I wanna go 5 days." So I actually did it for Japan, and I did the same time Gabby was going and everything, and for $10,000, my family of 5 could do the same trip that one kid could do for 5 grand. And it was like 10 days in Japan, 2 different islands, and we had to get 2 rooms every time,
yeah, but you know
and that was
why?
airfare and everything.
I understand, and I having planned or quoted the trip for Wes's class to go to Washington, DC,
Yeah.
the difference in the cost is that they pay for, like, a chaperone at night. They have
Yes.
private
No, I understand why it's more, but I'm saying if Gabby wants to go to Japan, I'm like, "Let's all go to
yeah,
Japan,"
I agree.
is what I'm
I
saying.
agree.
And we use European and now it's called Tripmasters, but we used it before because you can say in there, let's say you and Brad are like, "We wanna go to Paris 5 days, and then we wanna take a train to wherever, Cannes." I don't know anything about France, but anyway. So then you put in there, oh, and then they put you in a 3-star hotel, and you're like, "Oh, nope, I wanna make that hotel a
Okay,
4-star hotel, and actually, I don't wanna leave that train day, I wanna" so it puts it
that's perfect.
together,
It can build your
and then you
itinerary for
tweak
you.
it.
Yeah,
And
I
so
love
I
that.
changed Justin and I's hotel every single time because I wanted to stay, and you could read the reviews. They have a list of hotels and the stars, and you can read the reviews, and then you click, and it plugs in your trip. And so when they mailed us train tickets, they had our flights, like, it arranged our
That's great.
flights. We
Mhm.
went all over to 3 different countries or 4 different countries. Anyways, so it just makes me think why I'm thinking of, like, a bigger trip right now is because I told Gabby I would rather our family like, instead of you just going to Japan, how about every 3 years we do something really cool?
Yeah.
And for us, because so many children travel ball, I don't feel like we have as much of an expendable income to do it
Let alone
annually.
time,
Yeah, and no time.
too.
Oh, for sure, no time. And to do that annually. But it does make me we just read The Year of Yes, and it's you keep saying you're gonna do things, you keep saying you're gonna do things, and it's just do it. Just do it like you did. You got the trip, you did it, and now you can build from it. Because you guys were going to Florida a lot, and then you were like, "Okay, let's try all inclusive." Last year you did Mexico, and now you're trying Dominican, and it's okay. I'm just doing it. I'm just going, and we're doing it, and we're figuring out, and then from there, I can make decisions and
Exactly.
tweak
It's
it.
part of our own journey of
Yeah.
self-discovery too, and even just, like, why do people do all-inclusives? It's convenient, but I think the old way was this was, like, your escape from life, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
go here, somebody's gonna serve you, don't do anything, whereas
Don't lift a finger.
now that I'm older, it's not my escape from life. It's more about me experiencing a different country and
Yeah.
being pampered in some way. So just going to the run of the mill all inclusive at a nice resort isn't enough, I
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I'm glad you're back safely. No one was kidnapped or murdered, and
I felt, by the way, aside from our issue, like I felt safer there than Mexico, just honestly. Like
mhm,
going out on the beach, they definitely made sure nobody was peddling things on the beach front, which you see a lot in Cabo, you see a lot in other parts of Mexico. We saw them, like, there were security guards all around the property, nobody could get on. It definitely felt completely safe versus Mexico where I don't know, depending on where you stay, it just doesn't it feels safe enough. But, because you're driving in Mexico, you're driving by some sort of compound, and there's people standing in guard shacks with
mhm.
AK-47s, you're like, "Oh, damn, I'm gonna stay on this property." You didn't
Right,
get that in Punta
right,
Cana. It definitely
right.
felt a lot
Well,
safer.
2 different countries, right? Mexico is known for,
Yes.
like, in the past, a corrupt government and lots of other things. I don't know as much the history of or the political climate of Dominican Republic at this time, but
I don't neither.
yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of unrest right now going on in Haiti.
Mhm,
Dominican honestly, I put Dominican as, like, about 10 years behind Cancun kind of a thing, or like Punta Cana. You
mhm,
saw a ton of things being built. You saw it just looked like it was going through a big transition because it's really feeding off of the tourist economy. You
mm,
can buy a condo there for 100 grand,
that's
like, near
crazy.
the beach. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You still have to fly there
Mhm.
and you still have to, like, figure out all the other things, but
Right.
it's interesting. So, yeah. Yay.
Again, glad you're back.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe so you can hear our latest episodes as soon as they drop.
If you loved today's episode, share with a friend. Come visit us on Instagram or Facebook. Make sure to give us a follow. We have lots of giveaways. If you want to know more about Kelly and I, read our blogs, find more tips, tools, and resources, check that out at chasingbrighter.com. Thanks.